Max 5300. Produced by WorldCom Edu. Word Max 5300. Level 5.
Word Max, Book 5, Day 1. Consumption. Annual consumption of water. Experienced. Recruit experienced staff. Immediate. An immediate response. Remains. The remains of ancient Rome. Majority. The majority of foreign athletes. Previous. Discover a previous record. Alternative. Develop new alternative energy. Definition. The definition of a planet. Determined. Her determined resolution. Annual. An annual report about natural disasters. Context. In context. Shift. Shift from LA to Jeju. Contrary. Contrary to her expectation. Evolution. The theory of evolution. Besides. He can speak English besides French. Junk. Get rid of junk. Junk food. Client. Protect their client. Device. A safety device. Vast. A vast area of rainforest. Numerous. Numerous popular songs. Ensure. Ensure happiness in your life. Monitor. Monitor his every movement. Intense. Cause intense pain. Fellow. A good fellow. Fellow entrepreneurs. Agricultural. Agricultural implements. Massive. Massive earthquakes. A massive sandstorm. Interact. Interact well with friends. Occasionally. Get up early occasionally. Primitive. The most primitive form of art. Vocabulary. Extensive vocabulary.
Day 2. Account for. Account for a quarter. Capable. A capable engineer. Influence. Have a strong influence on adolescents. Domestic. Domestic spending. Trend. Recent social trend. Council. UN Security Council. Definitely. Definitely remember. Endangered. Protect endangered animals. Fiber. Carbon fiber. High in fiber. Isolated. An isolated island. Mere. Mere flattery. A mere assumption. Density. The population density in Paris. Regard. Regard herself as a princess. Burden. Burden to society. Ecosystem. Destroy the ecosystem. Motivation. Prime motivation. The proper motivation. Executive. An executive in a computer company. Philosophy. Grant a degree in philosophy. strict. Stick to a strict diet. Initial. The initial symptoms of flu. An initial fee. Observation. His powers of scientific observation. Permanent. Make a permanent plan. Solid. Liquids and solids. Solid partnership. Civilization. The civilization of ancient Greece. Distinct. 4 distinct seasons. Distribution. The distribution of planets. Core. The core of the argument. Protein. Essential protein. High in protein. Refrigerator. Purchase a new refrigerator. Relevant. A relevant question.
Day 3. Alert. An alert leader. Be alert to. Extraordinary. People with extraordinary talents. Isolation. Reduce fear and isolation. Prior. Prior knowledge of biology. Subtle. His subtle emotion. Temporary. Temporary equilibrium. Estimate. A realistic estimate. Welfare. Welfare without growth. Accuracy. Incredible accuracy. With accuracy. Avalanche. Cause a massive avalanche. Countless. The death of countless sheep. Debt. Get out of debt. A debt of $3,000. Excess. An excess of stress. Tune. Love tunes. Tune a piano. Fatigue. Chronic fatigue. Be faint with fatigue. Statistics. Release new statistics. Relief. Temporary relief. A sense of relief. Via. Fly home via London. Astronomy. Devote her life to astronomy. Circular. A circular table. Operate a circular route. Defend. Defend themselves. Enhance. Enhance my English proficiency. Grasp. Grasp her hand tightly. Interpret. Interpret the ancient Greek poem. Contemporary. Contemporary American society. Phase. The last phase of the experiment. Predator. Predators in the sea. Confirm. Confirm a reservation. Recognition. Automatic recognition. Get recognition. Bias. Have a strong political bias.
Day 4. Be derived from. Be derived from ancient languages. Dilemma. Be in a dilemma. A moral dilemma. Extensive. An extensive area. Reference. Find reference materials. Cliff. Stand at the edge of the cliff. Glance. Glance around. Glance up. Somewhat. Somewhat irrelevant. Component. Key components of the report. Diminish. diminish in speed, diminish gradually. Abound, abound with fish. Assignment, do a math assignment. Confusion, identity confusion. Create confusion. Corporation, multinational corporation. Eliminate, eliminate the dangerous virus. Self-esteem, have low self-esteem. Admission, change the admission policy. Slang, limit the use of slang. Sophisticated, sophisticated consumers. Trigger, trigger asthma. Squeeze the trigger. Certificate, receive a teacher's certificate. Disorder, a state of disorder. Neurological disorders. Innocent, innocent civilians. Mechanism, the mechanism of a computer. Passive, play a passive role. Pottery, make pottery. Precise, the precise measurement. Prehistoric, prehistoric remains. Split, split a cake into 3 pieces. Breed, breed horses. Mature, mature teenagers. His mature attitude.
Day 5. Correlation. A correlation between age and height. Induce. Induce investment. Substance. Avoid harmful substances. Diversity. Protect the cultural diversity. Stable. A stable recovery. Strain. Stress and strain of public life. Prominent. A prominent movie director. Bond. A bond of friendship. Noticeable. Noticeable improvement. Satisfy. Satisfy the condition. Dislike. Dislike carrots. A hearty dislike. Anthropologist. A cultural anthropologist. Tuition. Receive private tuition in English. Intent. Conceal strategic intent. Circulation. Have good circulation. Readily. Blush readily. Readily available. Apparent. For no apparent reason. Assist. Assist a person financially. Era. The Romantic Era. The end of an era. Sake. For the sake of. Abundant. An abundant harvest. Abundant material. Evaluate. Evaluate his English proficiency. Adequate. Adequate methods. Draft. The final draft. The first draft of the report. Expedition. Go on an expedition. Commerce. Foreign commerce. Electronic commerce. Stack. A stack of clothes. Stack books. Entry. No entry. Gain entry to the golf club. Earning. His average earnings. Earning gap. Enthusiastic. Enthusiastic about her work.
Day 6. Ambiguous. Dislike his ambiguous attitude. Crude. A crude drawing of the vase. Guilty. Be found guilty. Guilty conscience. Celsius. Celsius thermometer. Stun. Be stunned for a moment. Offspring. Offspring of primitive man. Compensation. Make compensation for the accident. Diabetes. Suffer from diabetes. Medication. Take medication. Effective medication. Polish. Polish the glasses with a handkerchief. Devastating. A devastating earthquake. Magnetic. Magnetic polarity. Magnetic forces. Bargain. Bargain with a vendor. Asthma. Cause asthma. An asthma attack. Genuine. A genuine diamond ring. Lever. The principle of the lever. Biodiversity. Biodiversity conservation. Dominate. Dominate public opinion. Enterprise. Public enterprises. Expressive. Expressive with your feelings. Horizontal. Draw a horizontal line. Ultimate. Find ultimate solutions. Real estate. A real estate agent. Assistance. Offer practical assistance. Substitute. Employ substitute teachers. Cereal. Cereal crops. Eat a bowl of cereal. Recess. A short recess. Call a recess. Inefficient. Inefficient use of resource. Spectacular. Spectacular sunrise. Equilibrium. Equilibrium of force.
Day 7. Friction. Friction between two countries. Indifferent. Indifferent about social issues. Allegory. A political allegory. Transport. Public transport. Identification. An identification number. Federal. Federal government. Wage. A minimum wage system. A wage rise. Hardship. Financial hardship. Undergo hardship. Guarantee. Guarantee the quality of a product. Intake. Daily calorie intake. Adequate intake. Modest. A modest and honest student. Inexpensive. A relatively inexpensive car. Intermediate. Take an intermediate course. Neutral. Neutral territory. Favorable. Favorable position. Urgent. Deliver an urgent message. Expansion. Expansion and renovation. Grant. Grant permission to visit. Column. The first column of the table. Curriculum. National curriculum. A basic curriculum. Input. Input of pollutants. Information input. Flesh. Flesh and blood. Raw flesh. Exceed. Exceed the weight limit. Usage. Annual water usage. Wilderness. A desolate wilderness. Breakthrough. Make a breakthrough. Forage. Forage for food. Forage crops. Substantial. A substantial sum of money. Overnight. Stay overnight. Lifelong. His lifelong study.
Day 8. Rank. Be promoted to the rank of captain. Frost. Severe frost. Frost damage. Ridiculous. Make a ridiculous mistake. Dawn. Wake up before dawn. Inappropriate. Inappropriate behavior. Accustomed. Get accustomed to getting up early. Domain. Protect their domain. Update. Update his software. Exclusive. Exclusive rights. An exclusive contract. Sacrifice. Sacrifice for his children. Contagious. A contagious disease. Highly contagious. Immense. An immense crowd. Defensive. A defensive weapon. Potter. Potter around the house. Shield. A shield-shaped bag. Sword and shield. Hesitation. Show hesitation. Retail. Recommended retail price. Latitude. Calculate latitude. Latitude of soul. Amateur. Team of amateur dancers. Pest. Insect pest control. A garden pest. Antibiotic. Take antibiotics. Antibiotic resistance. Cottage. Stay in a cottage. A country cottage. Volcanic. Potential volcanic hazards. Loan. Household mortgage loans. Solely. Depend solely on her experience. Controversy. Beyond controversy. Assembly. State assembly. A simple assembly job. Fatal. A fatal injury. Carry a fatal disease. Distress. Psychological distress. Deeply distressed. Precipitation. Accumulate the precipitation data.
Day 9. Facilitate. Facilitate the intervention. Ignorance. Ignorance about the disease. Sacred. Dress in sacred robes. Trace. Trace pickpockets. Leave no trace. Competent. Recruit competent computer experts. Equivalent. Equivalent figure. Hemisphere. The southern hemisphere. Impatient. Impatient customers. Reception. A wedding reception. Subsequent. A subsequent discussion. Circumstance. The current circumstance. Symbolic. Understand the symbolic meaning. Vigorous. A vigorous workout. Transmit. Transmit electricity. Exceptional. Exceptional talent as a pianist. Globalization. Era of globalization. Voluntary. Make a voluntary contribution. Gratitude. Sincere gratitude. Love and gratitude. Autograph. Give an autograph. Dump. Be dumped at the forest. Reinforce. Reinforce a stereotype. Humiliate. Humiliate him in front of his friends. Abuse. Drug abuse. Abuse his rights. Farewell. Give a farewell reception. Equator. Above the equator. Almost on the equator. Recite. Recite a poem. Recite a monologue. Flock. A flock of birds. Chaos. Order out of chaos. Economic chaos. Vessel. The rapidly sinking vessel. Blood vessel. Worthwhile. Worthwhile endeavor.
Day 10. Deed. Her infamous deed. Negotiate. Negotiate the date. Sensation. Have a strange sensation. Checkup. Periodic checkup. Biography. Biography of Kennedy. Sting. Be stung by a bee. A bee sting. Sewage. Sewage disposal. Spouse. My beloved spouse. Magnitude. The magnitude of the earthquake. Nursery. Work at a nursery. Terrain. Mountainous terrain. Swampy terrain. Audition. Audition for the role of Juliet. Brochure. A brochure for tourists. Ongoing. Ongoing debate. Criminal. Criminal investigation. Catch a criminal. Proceed. Proceed quickly. Coward. A dirty coward. Act like a coward. Exploit. Exploit workers. Desperation. In desperation. An act of desperation. Cabin. Cabin crew. Comprehension. Improve comprehension. Intuitive. Intuitive faculty. Blade. A razor blade. A dull blade. Stiff. The stiff competition. Occupy. Occupy territory. Transition. A transition period. Transition to the north. Outbreak. An outbreak of food poisoning. Barn. Go into the barn. Notable. A notable artist. Disturbing. Disturbing news.
Day 11. Impractical. An impractical plan. Outfit. A wedding outfit. Wear a new outfit. Mentor. The important role of a mentor. Optimal. Optimal conditions. An optimal temperature. Elastic. Elastic force. Elastic fiber. Diameter. The diameter of a circle. Dignity. Fundamental human dignity. Longevity. Contribute to his longevity. Illustrate. Illustrate by example. Minimal. Minimal participation. A minimal effect. Imperfect. Imperfect knowledge. Exert. Exert a strong influence. Editorial. The editorial staff. Imply. Imply participation. Irrigation. Repair the irrigation canal. Foster. Foster innovations. Foster children. Dietary. Dietary intake. A dietary supplement. Nasty. Wear nasty socks. Taste nasty. Equality. The equality of all living things. Disguise. Disguised as a duck. A disguised attack. Keen. Keen to, on. Keen sense of smell. Cube. A cube-shaped box. Hasty. A hasty meal. Make a hasty decision. Hierarchical. Hierarchical structure. Donor. A blood donor. Insufficient. Insufficient supply of water. Impulsive. An impulsive decision. Endeavor. An active endeavor. Convert. Convert steam into power. Renowned. A renowned photographer.
Day 12. Pedestrian. Pedestrian-only area. Reservoir. A reservoir of knowledge. Trivial. Trivial arguments. Retain. Retain his wealth. Absurd. An absurd idea. An absurd rumor. Outrage. Express outrage. Sway. Sway his peers. Sway in the wind. Decisive. Play a decisive role. Aesthetic. Aesthetic value. Aesthetic theory. Stall. A newspaper stall. Contradict. Contradict his opinion. Supervise. Supervise an election. Loom. Loom on the horizon. Appreciation. Great appreciation of the painting. Activate. Activate a machine. Advocate. Advocate democracy. Sustainable. Initiate sustainable agriculture policies. Cosmetic. The cosmetic industry. Cosmetic surgery. Reciprocal. Reciprocal assistance. A reciprocal treaty. Plentiful. Enjoy plentiful light. A plentiful harvest. Advent. The advent of death. Tense. A tense atmosphere. Regulation. Set safety regulations. Healthcare. Provide healthcare for the elderly. Synthetic. Synthetic leather. Spiritual. Spiritual development. Spiritual heritage. Perceptual. Perceptual cognitive mistakes. Honorable. Honorable conduct. Legacy. Inherit a legacy. A lasting legacy. Sorrow. Hide bitter sorrow.
Day 13. Metropolitan. Metropolitan areas. Lottery. Win a lottery. Scratch a lottery ticket. Punch. Punch the wall. Prolonged. Prolonged viewing of a computer. Persuasion. Have great powers of persuasion. Duration. Long duration missions. Fertile. Settle on fertile land. Manipulate. Manipulate public opinion. Layout. Magazine layout. Glimpse. Glimpse her son through the window. Intact. Keep their culture intact. Evergreen. An evergreen forest. Incorporate. Be incorporated in the plan. Inborn. Inborn talent for dancing. Revive. Revive a musical. Platform. Stand on platform 3. Manuscript. Read a manuscript. Edit a manuscript. Discrimination. Racial discrimination. Microscope. An electronic microscope. Radioactive. Severe radioactive contamination. Assure. Assure the safety of tourists. Responsive. Responsive to a customer's needs. Reject. Reject the proposal. Firmly reject. Optimism. Optimism for the future. Sheer. Sheer coincidence. Lessen. Lessen racial bias. Rotation. Make a rotation. Earth's rotation. Presumably. Presumably, he is tired. Unwilling. Unwilling to answer questions. Spacious. Need a more spacious bedroom.
Day 14. Flap. Flap in the breeze. Dual. Her dual role. Dual nationality. Cherish. Cherish his cat. Furious. Fast and furious. Furious sea. Mourn. Mourn Andy's death. Spontaneous. Spontaneous enthusiasm. Deceased. Sam's deceased grandmother. Boundary. Boundary marker. National boundaries. Withstand. Withstand hardship. Abrupt. An abrupt change. Timber. Harvest timber. Supply of timber. Thrive. Continue to thrive. Deliberate. Make a deliberate mistake. Weed. Pull up a weed by its roots. Undergo. Undergo surgery. Far away. Send people to a faraway region. Competitor. Defeat a competitor. Ecology. Study animal ecology. Withdraw. Withdraw savings from his account. Decay. Have tooth decay. Decaying food. Stubborn. Stubborn resistance. A stubborn cough. Starvation. Suffer from starvation. Willingness. Express willingness. Extract. Extract natural resources. Epidemic. A severe epidemic. Steer. Steer a ship. Turn the steering wheel. Coordination. Strengthen teamwork and coordination. Amnesia. Suffer from amnesia. Suppress. Suppress opposition. Longitude. Measure the longitude.
Day 15. Prompt. A prompt reply. Hostile. A hostile attitude. Hostile criticism. Restless. A restless student. Reckless. The outcome of reckless behavior. Morality. Commercial morality. An issue of morality. Relevance. Have relevance to. Regain. Regain his prestige. Probe. Probe the sea floor. Malnutrition. Extreme malnutrition. Parasite. Eradicate parasites. Geometric. Geometric style. Retreat. Retreat from his earlier position. Leopard. Hunt a leopard. Inadequate. Inadequate budget. Segment. Divide the garden into segments. Intuition. Depend on intuition. Gorgeous. A gorgeous night view. Assert. Assert her innocence. Outlook. A positive outlook on life. Penetrate. Penetrate the window. Immoral. Immoral conduct. Leak. The blood leaks out. Infinite. Infinite possibilities. Irrational. Her irrational attitude. Mammal. A higher mammal. A type of mammal. Implement. Implement a policy. Cutting implement. Surgeon. A heart surgeon. Rust. A nail covered with rust. Compromise. Compromise reasonably. Suspend. Suspend assistance.
Day 16. Egocentric. An egocentric speech. Patch. Patch up a hole in the fence. Anticipate. Anticipate economic growth. Proclaim. Proclaim a state of emergency. Swarm. A swarm of flies. Conflicting. Conflicting claims. Textile. The textile industry. export textiles, agony, immense agony, warrior, invincible warriors, the warrior class, womb, from the womb to the tomb, cuddle, cuddle her daughter, texture, the rough texture of the skirt, choke, almost choked to death, credible, a credible source of information, tenant, a previous tenant, a tenant farmer, ultraviolet, ultraviolet rays, an ultraviolet lamp, ally, a strong ally, ally against the enemy, burial, burial ground, a burial at sea, unrealistic, set an unrealistic goal, abolish, abolish slavery, adhere, adhere to his principle, compulsive, treat compulsive mental disorders, beforehand, 2 days beforehand, affirmative, answer in the affirmative, childish, have a childish idea, consent, give consent to a proposal, collaborate, collaborate on the art project, absent-minded, look absent-minded, intersection, a dangerous intersection, dim, walk along a dim street.
Day 17. Diploma. A college diploma. Prism. An experiment involving a prism. Prestigious. Receive a prestigious award. Dilute. Dilute with water. Diluted ink. Episode. A tragic episode. Injure. Injure passengers. Evoke. Evoke sympathy. Luxurious. Live in a luxurious house. Allocate. Allocate resources. Diagnosis. Make a wrong diagnosis. Porch. A car parked at a back porch. Dummy. A tailor's dummy. Ride a dummy horse. Nurture. Nurture children. Nurture creativity. Dormitory. Live in a dormitory. Implication. An implication of the policy. Erode. Be eroded by the sea. Conservative. Conservative view. Conservative policy. Hinder. Hinder their travel plans. Dread. Dread riding a bike. Enrich. Enrich the soil. Intellect. A sharp intellect. Train intellect. Ambition. Literary ambition. Discern. Discern difference. Marble. A marble floor. Racism. A victim of racism. Impose. Impose heavy taxes on alcohol. Gracious. His gracious attitude. Revenge. Tim sought revenge. Atomic. The atomic structure. An atomic explosion. Plead. Her pleading eyes.
Day 18. Hinge. Put a hinge on a door. Shiver. Shiver from the cold. Artifact. Ancient artifacts. Armor. A suit of armor. Pierce body armor. Simplify. Simplify enrollment procedures. Upcoming. The upcoming election. Strand. A strand of red wool. Sprout. Potatoes sprout in the bag. Oblige. Be obliged to attend the meeting. Soothe. Soothe symptoms. Dichotomy. An absolute dichotomy. A false dichotomy. Reassure. Try to reassure her daughter. Acupuncture. Acupuncture treatment. Do acupuncture. Tolerate. Tolerate a sore throat. Tolerate adversity. Bankrupt. Go bankrupt. Transplant. Need a heart transplant. Particle. Tiny particles. A dust particle. Sympathetic. Offer a sympathetic opinion. Successive. Our team's successive victories. Superb. Do a superb job. Recession. The manufacturing recession. Soar. Soaring prices. Soar into the sky. Wreck. Be trapped in the wreck. Shrine. A historic shrine. Pray at a shrine. Yeast. Add yeast to dough. Vanish. Vanish without a trace. Radical. The need for radical change. Refrain. Refrain from traveling. Humanitarian. Provide humanitarian aid. Distort. Distort the truth.
Day 19. Flame. Spout out flames. The Olympic flame. Bureaucracy. The power of state bureaucracy. Doom. Go to one's doom. Impending doom. Glacier. Glacier in Alaska. The top of a glacier. Epic. A folk epic. Commentary. Give a commentary. A political commentary. Clarify. Clarify the cause. Diaper. Change his daughter's diaper. Complementary. Enhance the complementary relationships. Graze. Graze by the river. Indigenous. Indigenous human trait. Chronic. Suffer from chronic asthma. Eternal. Our eternal love. Coarse. Her coarse hand. Coarse salt. Dose. A dose of medicine. A fatal dose. Cling. Cling together. Cling to the ceiling. Copyright. Copyright on this movie. Cuisine. Royal Court cuisine. Curb. Curb global warming. Discard. Discard her old shoes. Evaporate. Evaporate in the air. Inhabit. Inhabit a remote island. Congestion. Cause serious traffic congestion. Handshake. A warm handshake. Connectivity. Resolve server connectivity problems. Flee. Flee from enemies. Flee to Korea. Decent. Provide decent education. Corpse. Bury a corpse. Lump. A lump of cheese. Overhear. Overhear their conversation.
Day 20. Pavement. Improve the pavement. Multitask. Multitask effectively. Precede. Precede all matters. Renew. Renew the discussion. Morale. Boost morale. Pessimistic. Pessimistic about the accident. Provision. The lack of housing provision. Prescribe. Prescribe the medication. Livelihood. Write for his livelihood. Mortgage. Get a second mortgage. Mortgage rate. Primate. Important research on primates. Oval. Her oval face. An oval frame. Remedy. A new flu remedy. Precaution. Take precautions against fire. Ornament. A garish ornament. Inquiry. Scientific inquiry. Radiate. Radiate heat. Irresponsible. Promote irresponsible spending. Overload. Drive the overloaded truck. Naive. A naive answer. Meteorite. Fragments of meteorite. Mutation. A genetic mutation. Irritate. Irritate his nerves. Pledge. Pledge to support his plan. Quote. Quote the sentence. Linguistic. Linguistic diversity. Murmur. Start to murmur. Qualified. Fully qualified for the job. Cluster. Cluster around the center. Omission. Without omission. A serious omission.
Day 21. Panel. Operate solar panels. Subordinate. Her direct subordinates. Envision. Envision the future of our school. Dine. Dine at a traditional Korean restaurant. Deception. Practice deception. Accommodation. Many types of accommodation. Tame. Tame wild animals. A tame dog. Swamp. Tropical swamps. Swamped with emails. Viewpoint. Global viewpoint. Stabilize. Stabilize the oil price. Await. Await the winter vacation. Astonish. Astonish her family. Simultaneously. Happen simultaneously. interchange. Important information interchange. Amend. Amend the Constitution. Archery. Practice archery. Enchant. Designed to enchant people. Uncover. Uncover a hidden motivation. Vapor. Emit a vapor. Water vapor in the air. Footprint. Leave a footprint in the snow. Surpass. Surpass expectations. Repetitive. Repetitive movements. Vacant. Find a vacant seat. Craving. A craving for winning. Superficial. A superficial analogy. Dimension. Measure the dimensions of the table. Weave. Weave a net. Weave threads together. Supplement. A vitamin A supplement. Ventilate. Ventilate a room with a fan. Clutch. Clutch power. Clutch a chair.
Day 22. Adorable. An adorable baby. Blister. Get blisters on the right hand. Counterpart. A formidable counterpart. Contend. Contend with misfortune. Adverse. Adverse effect. Appliance. Kitchen appliance. Auction. Participate in the auction. Bless. God bless you. Apologetic. Write an apologetic letter. Conceal. Conceal her purpose. Baggage. A baggage handler. Continual. Continual complaints. Ample. Ample opportunity. An ample terrace. Attic. Clean the attic. A dusty attic. Compel. Compel students to study English. Blueprint. Draw a blueprint. Aristocracy. Belong to the aristocracy. Carbohydrate. A low-carbohydrate diet. Beware. Beware of avalanche. Bruise. A bruised arm. Contemplate. Contemplate the meaning of life. Blur. Blurred vision. Corruption. Political corruption. Categorize. Categorize people according to age. Confront. Confront a serious problem. Comprise. Comprise a significant component. Broaden. Broaden her view. Bribe. Turn down a bribe. Condense. Condense milk. Creep. Creep up the wall.
Day 23. Idiom. Study English idioms. Improper. An improper conclusion. Eradicate. Eradicate the bacteria. Frail. A frail child. Furnish. Need to furnish the room. Immature. Mentally immature. Fortress. Build a fortress. An ancient fortress. hospitality, warm hospitality, impressive hospitality. Dispense, dispense medical supplies. Drastic, make a drastic decision. Escort, an armed escort. Geometry, help Steve with his geometry homework. Inflate, inflate student's grade. Crave, crave spicy food. Empower, be empowered to change the schedule. Exhale, exhale deeply. Exhale smoke. Deplete, deplete natural resources. Fermentation, a secret fermentation process. Glare, glare at her silently. Embassy, send a letter to the Korean embassy. Dictate, dictate a letter to a secretary. Exterior, exterior of the building. An exterior view. Divine, a divine song. Her divine efforts. Enclose, the enclosed documents. Futile, a futile gesture. Make a futile attempt. Counterproductive, useless and counterproductive. Dip, dip his hands in water. Harness, harness horses to a carriage. Cozy, a cozy little kitchen. Locomotive, an electric locomotive.
Day 24. Eligible. Eligible to vote. Reform. Reform the social system. Indulge. Indulge in sports. Itch. A persistent itch. Scratch an itch. Provoke. Provoke an allergic reaction. Meditate. Meditate all day. Sin. Commit a sin. Forgive his sin. Prose. Poetry and prose. Minority. Ethnic minorities. A minority opinion. Refugee. A refugee camp. An economic refugee. Patriotism. Emphasize patriotism. Omit. Omit an important question. Patron. A patron of the arts. Refinement. The refinement of gold. Aesthetic refinement. Protest. Protest against the decision. Erect. With ears erect. Erect a fence. Persevere. Persevere with her tasks. Seize. Seize on the last chance. Proficient. Proficient in running. Originate. Originate from mutual distrust. Integrate. Integrate materials. Shave. Cut himself shaving. Have a shave. Lodge. Stay inside a lodge. Ponder. Ponder the question. Prophecy. Rosy prophecy. Mock. Hold a mock trial. Dispute. Dispute a decision. Labor dispute. Inject. Inject a drug. Prosperous. The most prosperous business in Korea. Supreme. Make the supreme vehicle.
Day 25. Thrust. Thrust his hands into his pocket. Statesman. Ambition to be a famous statesman. Stance. A neutral stance. Take a stance. Tribute. A tribute to her visit. Surgical. Surgical instruments. Beam. The beam of a flashlight. A beam of hope. Tempt. Tempt him with chocolate. Afflict. Be afflicted with poverty. Wipe. Wipe the salad bowl. Terminate. Terminate the contract. Ego. Boost his ego. Wicked. Her wicked habits. A wicked murderer. Submerge. A village submerged by the flood. Skull. The skull of a wild wolf. Landslide. Prevent a landslide. Abnormal. Abnormal behavior. Elude. Elude the police. Utmost. Do his utmost. At the utmost. Broker. A real estate broker. Surrender. Surrender to the enemy. Adolescent. Adolescent problems. Subscribe. Subscribe to a daily newspaper. Brand new. Buy a brand new computer. Exclaim. She exclaimed, "I won." Garment. A sports garment. Sew a garment. Workaholic. Be described as a workaholic. Weep. Weep all night. Accuse. Accuse him of stealing a car. Veteran. Veteran martial artists. Devastate. Devastate much of the forest.
Day 26. Commemorate. Commemorate the victory. Delegate. Delegates from 60 countries. Depiction. An accurate depiction of the hero. Cognition. Mental cognition. Impair cognition. Confess. Confess his crime. Arouse. Arouse passion. Cathedral. Live in a cathedral. Archaeology. Major in archaeology. Chunk. A chunk of cheese. Dart. Throw a poisoned dart. Alleviate. Alleviate pain. Alleviate heat. Blush. Blush with embarrassment. Confidential. A confidential report. Betray. Betray his colleague. Comply. Comply with the safety rules. Barometer. Mercury barometer. Blunder. Make a terrible blunder. A fatal blunder. Assassin. A trained assassin. Arrest an assassin. Chatter. Chatter about the weather. Consecutive. For 6 consecutive days. Constitution. A written constitution. Constitution Day. Anonymous. An anonymous call. Cripple. Be crippled by war. Cemetery. A national cemetery. Deepen. Deepen a river. Brisk. A brisk walk. Expect brisk exports. Creek. Cross a creek. Conclusive. Find conclusive evidence. Constraint. Financial constraints. Without constraint. Enlighten. Enlighten the general readers.
Day 27. Flaw. The fundamental flaw. Intrude. Intrude on her privacy. Drip. Drip down the wall. Hectic. A hectic schedule. Insane. Go completely insane. An insane act. Elevate. Elevate a weight. Fruitless. Fruitless labor. A fruitless attempt. Lure. Lure a deer into a trap. Insulation. Inadequate insulation. Capitalize. Capitalize a word. Inherit. Inherited real estate. Doze. Doze in an armchair. Doze off. Intelligible. An intelligible explanation. Linger. Linger over a cup of coffee. Fragrance. Subtle fragrance. The fragrances of flowers. Inconsistent. An inconsistent statement. Glitter. Glitter in the sunlight. Inhale. Inhale the fresh air. Intervene. Intervene personally in the situation. Frontier. Frontier dispute. Cross a frontier. Hygiene. Personal hygiene. Major in hygiene. Diagnose. Diagnose cancer. Fling. Fling his book on the desk. Flourish. Flourish for a while. Flush. Flush with anger. Homesick. Homesick for his country. Diplomatic. Diplomatic relations. A diplomatic crisis. Foremost. Her foremost duty. Spectator. Attract spectators. Cannon. Fire a cannon. The boom of a cannon.
Day 28. Plunge. Plunge nearly 70%. Perish. Perish in the fire. Recruit. Recruit the professional librarian. Purify. Purify water. Prevailing. A prevailing view. The prevailing disease. Plausible. His plausible excuse. Interval. At an interval of 7 years. Scorn. Scorn the murderer. Parameter. Set the parameters. Within the parameters. Acoustic. Acoustic effects. An acoustic instrument. Nominate. Nominate a candidate. Fragment. Remove tiny fragments. accelerate. Accelerate the aging process. Partial. Partial consent. Swell. Begin to swell. Populate. A densely populated city. Overdue. An overdue payment. Manifest. Manifest absurdity. Painkiller. Take a painkiller. Inject a painkiller. Lease. Renew a lease. Lease facilities. Recur. A recurring problem. Reside. Reside in a dormitory. Roar. The lion roars at tourists. Sphere. The shape of a perfect sphere. Compile. Compile a report. Refraction. Cause a refraction of light. Segregation. The strict gender segregation. Scheme. A dangerous scheme. Surplus. Surplus population. Surplus capital. Effectual. An effectual cure.
Day 29. Triumph. Achieve a triumph. Triumph over fate. Authorize. Authorize him to enter the room. Tyrant. Be ruled by a merciless tyrant. Byproduct. Byproduct of coal-fired power plants. Phenomenal. A phenomenal success. Splinter. Break into splinters. Splinter the wood. Refute. Refute his argument. Lament. Lament the decline in moral standards. Vomit. Vomit up supper. Magnify. Magnify the picture. Obstruct. Obstruct a search. Obstruct the view. Chick. Chicks in the garden. A pea chick. Nomad. Last nomads of Africa. Invariable. Invariable element. Designate. Designate a non-smoking area. Entitle. Entitled to a pension. Versatile. A versatile inventor. Fusion. The heat of fusion. Expire. The lease will expire next week. Incline. Incline to the right side. Startle. Be startled by his answer. Terrify. Be terrified at the news. Zealous. Make zealous efforts. Fed up with. Be fed up with domestic politics. Unify. Unify the region. Recede. The receding tide. Recede in importance. Pillar. Enter a nail in a pillar. A pillar of fire. Enlist. Enlist in the military. Unanimous. Unanimous consent. Pirate. A pirate ship.
Day 30. Torture. Expose torture. Dismay. To one's dismay. Dismay at the news. Procession. A torchlight procession. A festival procession. astronomical, astronomical observation. Undertake, undertake a task. In terms of cost. Vow, break a vow, vow eternal love. Anecdote, a funny anecdote. Tell an anecdote. Nonverbal, the nonverbal aspects of communication. Patriotic, sing patriotic songs. Ignite, ignite passion. Preservative, a food preservative. Add a preservative. Circulate, circulate throughout the cells. Fume, fume with indignation. Captive, captive animals. Take captives. Groan, die groaning. Counterattack, a counterattack from the enemy. Dusk, after dusk. Last until dusk. Utterance, a public utterance. A man of good utterance. Trim, trim her hair. Trim the leaves. Account, open a bank account. Standardize, standardize the size. Subdue, subdue the rebels. Censorship, press censorship. Majestic, a majestic view. His majestic manner. Dictator, a military dictator. Overtake, overtake demand. Intimidate, intimidate a boy into stealing. Tactics, psychological tactics. Unscrupulous, unscrupulous practices.